Hey folks, thanks for checking the video out. I want to show you something which is one of the coolest things I've done in a very long time, I think. One of the coolest things that I've kind of tested out, and it's worked really well. Now, I got hold of some wireless mics, some handheld, some lav mics and some headset mics, and they're really inexpensive. But I thought, well, how can I make these work in the studio? And I couldn't really think of a way, but then it occurred to me that wireless mics, you don't really use them in the studio, because why would you? But they can go in places that other mics can't. Namely enclosed, like sealed enclosures. So I've recorded some drums. I've taken a lav mic, one that looks just like this. You know what a lav mic looks like. And I've connected it to the wireless thing and put it in a drawer. And I've closed that drawer and I've recorded drums. Now, I want to take you through the kind of three-step process that was involved here. But first of all, I just want to play you kind of the result. I'm just going to bring up this drawer mic, as I'm calling it, and just listen to the bottom end. It's so cool. Okay, I want to take you through the process of this and kind of my thought process as I was going along. I'm going to include some links to this down at the bottom so you can go and grab it if you want to. I think it's fun, and it's kind of a cool thing that you can just get really inexpensively to add a little bit of creativity to your recordings. You can put them in any kind of sealed enclosure. I've chosen the drawer. I've also got a loft hatch, so I may chuck them up there at some point and see what happens. But for now, let's see what's going on. So I've done 3 recordings here. The first one was with the drawer closed. The second one was with the drawer open. And then this third one that you've just heard is kind of a slower track. I want to play it with the drawer open because doesn't sound great. Let me take all the processing off it, because I'm going to discuss that as well. Take a listen to it with the drawer open and then with the drawer closed. Kind of sounds better without it. But if we then close the drawer and bring it in, when you compare that to open drawer, you get all that fizziness and nastiness, which we don't want. But when you close the drawer, you take out all the top end. Now, there's going to be some bright spark out there in the comments who will tell me that the size of the enclosure and the overall cubic capacity will change the resonant frequency. I get it. I didn't care. I just wanted to put it in a drawer. But please do let me know in the comments anything about that, because it's interesting. But I've closed the drawer and taken out all the top end, essentially. So I've just got a really low-endy kind of room mic that I don't have to then take all the top end off, because when you're applying an EQ, taking all that top end off, rolling it off, it tends to sound a little bit weird, doesn't it? You kind of get that, but it turns a little bit trashy, at least in my experience. Here you're doing it acoustically. You're stopping all the top end from actually getting to it in the first place. So this was steps 1 and 2. Do it with the drawer open? Not for me. Then do it with the drawer closed. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. The third recording that I did, I went a little bit spicy. So this was something that was far slower. So I thought, well, let's see if we can get a bit more bottom end, a little bit more space. And then I've processed it. So here it is on its own. Okay, sounds all right. Then I've put a noise gate on it, and that's keyed to the kick. So this mic channel is only going to open when the kick is present, essentially. Okay, getting a little bit better. I've gone to an EQ. I've taken out a little bit of the kind of low mids and some of the super lows. Kind of cleaned it up a bit. And then I've gone a bit crazy. I've gone to the Safari Pedals Gorilla Drive. I've taken the tone all the way down to the bottom, so I'm getting all that bottom end. I've brought the input right up, output right down, and sounds kind of crazy. So Gorilla Drive, for those of you who don't know, is like a drive box, essentially. I've actually got the hardware version up there. Can you see that? It's that one there. It's a pedal as well. It's cool. But the tone knob makes it so darker or brighter, essentially. I've taken this all the way to the dark side and I'm just making it so I'm just getting the bottom end out. And punched in with everything else, it sounds super cool. So let me just kind of blend that in. Let me close all these down. I'm going to unsolo that and just bring it in underneath everything else, and just hear as that bottom end of the kick just goes, woof, just kind of gets really massive. It does something a bit special. It gives me all that bottom end, and it's kind of controlled bottom end though. I don't need to EQ all that top end out because it's not there in the first place. Now this is in a drawer, which has then got some cupboards underneath it, but they're all filled with records. So I might try it at some point when empty all the records out and then just try it, but I feel like that might get a little bit resonant. But this is cool. This opened my eyes to something a little bit, recording in places that you can't trail a mic cable, essentially, without drilling or anything horrible like that. So I think I'm going to expand on this a little bit and start recording in some other spaces, maybe do another video. Have you done recordings in weird microphone positions? Is there anywhere that kind of works for you? I did actually watch a video on recording Fleetwood Mac acoustic guitars where they clipped a lapel mic onto the body and kind of put it inside. I thought, oh, okay, I'll try that. Yeah, not for me. Kind of distorts. But what are you going to do? So there's a link to these in the description. I think for the price you pay, they're really reasonable, and you get 2 of them and you can just bring them through the receiver. Even if you're not doing any live sound or anything, then wireless mics, they get a thumbs up from me in the studio. I don't use them for like body worn mics or anything like that, but just goes to show that just with a little bit of creativity, you can create something that is really cool. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care.